Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 84a, top of the page, with the words Da'amar le ilu la onisan. The buyer can say to the seller, ilu la onisan, if you had not exploited me, lo havi matzis hadart bach, hashtad onitan, matzit hadarta bach, vitana tuna, יפות ונמצאו רעות, לוקח יכול לחזור בו ולא מוכר. If you had not exploited me, you would not be able to renege on the sale, and I would receive the profit. Now that you have exploited me, you can renege on the sale and benefit. And similarly, the Tana of the Mishnah also taught, if the seller sold him wheat while claiming the wheat was good and it is found to be bad, the buyer can renege on the sale. This implies that the buyer can renege but not the seller, even in a situation where the seller would want to renege on the sale, for example, if the item became more expensive. Similarly, Rav Chizda says, Machar lo shaveh shesh v'chamesh. Rav Chizda says if he sold him an item that was worth 6 dinars for 5 dinars, and its price was reduced, and its value now stood at 3 dinars, who was exploited in this case? V'hu zu'amdu al shalosh mi nit'ana mocher yachol lachzor bo v'lo lokeach. D'amar ilu lo onisan lo havi matzis hadar tabach hashta matzis hadar tabach v'tana tuna ra'os v'nimtzos yafos mocher yachol lachzor bo v'lo lokeach. So Rav Chizda is saying that if he sold an item that was worth 6 for 5, and its price was reduced, and its value now stood at 3 dinars, who was exploited in this case? The seller, not the buyer, can renege on the sale. The reason is that the seller can say to him, if you had not exploited me, you would not be able to renege on the sale. Now that you have exploited me, can you renege on the sale? And similarly, the Tana of the Mishnah also taught, if the seller sold him bad wheat and it is found to be good, the seller can renege on the sale, but not the buyer. My kamash balan masnisan he, I masnisan lahava mina dilma derav chizda tervayu matsu hadri bahu, u masnisan haasa lashmeinan dilokeach yachol achzor bo. The Gemara asks, what is Rav Chizda teaching us? It is already taught in the Mishnah. The Gemara answers, if the halacha were derived from the Mishnah alone, I would say perhaps in the cases brought by Rav Chizda, both the buyer and the seller are able to renege on the sale. The reason is that this is a case of exploitation, as the item was sold for more than its value, and therefore, as long as the buyer can renege on the sale, this sale is not complete. Consequently, as the seller lost out as well, he can renege on the sale. And as for the Mishnah, it comes to teach us that if the seller said that he is selling good wheat and it is found to be bad, the buyer can renege on the sale, as this is considered a case of exploitation. Disloka daitach amina mishum diksiv ra yomer hakone. It is necessary to teach us this, as it might enter your mind to say that this is not a case of exploitation because it is written, it is bad, says the buyer. But when he is gone his way, then he boasts, which is in Proverbs 20:14. The buyer, maybe this proverb is saying that the buyer wants to fake out, kind of bluff and say, oh, this is terrible, but really he boasts. He got a really good deal, but he's going to say the whole time that it's bad, but really, this is an interesting piece of scripture here. Ra Yomer Hakona. It's bad. Like basically, I think what he's saying is that a shrewd buyer, will never put all his cards on the table. This is interesting. This is like right now is when Gematriona, this long work of mine is kicking in. Okay, Gematriona is when Gematria becomes in sync with clock time, so that you have like a hybrid or a synergy of consciousness between the Gematrias and the time. And there's some rules to it. But for example, when I'm reading this Talmud, okay, this piece of Talmud where it quotes the Proverbs, it says Ra, Ra, Yomer Hakona. Bad, the buyer says. And right now, where I am, it's 9:55 a.m. Now that is very close to 9:57 a.m. In fact, we're only 2 minutes away. And one of the rules of Gematriona is at any given point in time, you can measure 6 minutes after it or 6 minutes before it, and it's considered the same minute. For example, if that's the sort of the parameters around each minute, you have 12-minute parameter gauge, I don't know, borders, whatever the word is, that basically if 9:57 is the minute in question, then you have down until 9:50 or 9:51, let's say, and then you have up until 10:04. Right now it's 9:56, and the gematria value of Ra Yomer Hakona is 9:57. So this is an example of the manifestation of Gematriona. Now, imagine every minute that we were awake, we could look at the clock and get a gematriatic message from the clock, from the one who runs time, which is the creator of the universe. Imagine we could have that kind of relationship with the creator of the universe, where the one who controls all time and matter and space and energy and everything in the universe can relate to us through the time when we know the gematrias well enough that we say 9:57, now the Gemara is at this place. Now I'm doing this thing and he's talking about that, and the numbers match up. It's 9:57. We've coordinated. Now, if I wanted to go, there's another cipher called reverse Avgad. You have Tavgad, where it's like, you know how Aleph is 1, Beis is 2 in Gematria? But you have a different system where you just move it 1 over. So it's like Aleph is 1? No. Let's say you go Aleph all the way till Taf is 400, right? But what if Taf was 1, and then Aleph is 2, and Beis is 3? Okay, you have a whole different set of results right now. If you understood Tavgad because Taf, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dal. You see? Tavgad cipher. Now, there's a reverse Tavgad. Reverse Tavgad is where, I'm not sure what it is, but in reverse Tavgad, I'm not sure how they reverse it, but maybe it's like Aleph, it's 400 and then it goes backwards. Anyways, in reverse Tavgad, in that cipher, this verse in Proverbs actually equals 10:02, and we're also within the getter of 10:02, the getter of the Gadarenes. 10:02 minus 6 is 9:58, right? No, 9:56. We're right there. So then you would have the standard Hebrew cipher, and you would have the reverse Tavgad cipher in question. And those are some basic examples of Gematriona. When people always ask me, what are you doing? Well, I'm working on this Gematriona project. Back to the Talmud, it is necessary to teach us that, as it might enter your mind to say, that it's not the case of exploitation because it is written, as bad, says the buyer. But when he has gone his way, he boasts. Proverbs 20:14. Okay. In other words, it is the usual manner of sellers to praise their merchandise, while buyers disparage it. Therefore, the Mishnah teaches that the buyer can renege on the sale if the item is found to be bad, and the seller can change his mind. He could change his mind if it was found to be good. Shechamtis v'nimtzeis levono Rav Papa. Rav Papa says it is not Wednesday. That's not what Rav Papa says, but I'm saying it's not Wednesday. It's Tuesday, because Rav Papa is connected to Wednesday, and I saw Ruvain there last night. Ruvain said Rav Papa is Wednesday. Therefore, I'm connecting Rav Papa with Wednesday. And this is sort of like these interjections came just to give the Olam a nice, background. It comes from a Zamra. I think it's a good idea to start just all the time. Like Rav Chizda would be Tuesday. Rav Chizda is Tuesday. Rav Papa is Wednesday, even though today's Tuesday. But if I see Rav Papa on Tuesday, I'm going to say it's Tuesday, and I'm recognizing that Rav Papa is stationed in Wednesday. Okay, I'm Rav Papa, Midin Levonim. Shma minahai shimshad sumakti. Tidad dekasam tatsafret panya. The Mishnah teaches that if a seller said that he was selling reddish-brown wheat and it's found to be white, both the seller and the buyer can renege on the sale. The Gemara assumes that shehamtit means the color of the sun, like chama. Therefore, Rav Papa said, for the fact that the Mishnah teaches white in contrast to shamtit, and there are two types of wheat, which rhymes with shamtit, and one white and one the other red, conclude from the Mishnah that this sun is red, not white. No, that this is the case, as it reddens in the morning and evening, and the reason that we do not see the red color all day is because our eyesight is not strong and we cannot discern the redness of the sun. Meisvei. Umarehu amok min haor. Kimarechem ha'amuka min hatzel. V'hasam lavan hu. Kimarechem ha'velo kamarechem ha'amuka min hatzel. V'lo kamarechem ha'di'ilu hasam lavan v'hacha adom. The Gemara raises an objection to this claim with regard to a verse that speaks of leprosy. And behold, if its appearance is deeper than the skin. Leviticus 13:30. The sages explain, this means that it is like the appearance of the sun, which is deeper than the shadow. But there leprosy is white, and yet it is likened to the sun. The Gemara answers, there it means that it has an appearance like the sun in certain respects, but it is not like the appearance of the sun in all respects. It is like the appearance of the sun in that it is deeper than the shadow, and it is not likely entirely like the appearance of the sun, as there are the leper spot is white, and here the sun is red. The Gemara asks, and according to that which entered our mind initially, that the sun is white, doesn't it redden in the morning and evening? The Gemara answers, in the morning it becomes red as it passes over the side of the roses of the Garden of Eden, whose reflections give the light a red hue. In the evening the sun turns red because it passes over the entrance of Gehenna, whose fires red in the light. And there are those... Okay, this is interesting. It passes over the entrance of Gehenna. How are you understanding that on a heliocentric model? Like, okay, the earth passes, but it says the sun passes over Gehenna. So it's the earth that passes over the sun, you should say, right? I mean, there's all this controversy of flat earth, and people have some really, I don't know. It's sort of like, I'd like to get to the bottom of this to know definitively. But yeah. Anyway, there are those who say the opposite, explaining why the sun is red in the morning and evening. Or it could be these guys are just saying it. I don't know. It's hard to say. And there are those who say the opposite, explaining why the sun is red in the morning and in the evening. For example, in the morning it passes over the entrance of Gehenna, while in the evening it passes over the side of the roses of the Garden of Eden. Okay. Yain v'nim tzachometz shnein yochel nachzer behen lema masnisin Rabbi He v'lo Rabbanan Netanya. The Mishnah teaches that if the seller sold wine and it is found to be vinegar, both the seller and the buyer can renege on the sale. The Gemara suggests, shall we say, that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and not in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, as is taught in a Braita. Now, and then we'll continue on 84b. Have a great day, everyone.